This is one of the most maniacal murders I've ever heard of. A 29-year-old man stabbed his neighbor with a samurai sword and wounded another person with the sword. When police were questioning him, he said to them it was fate, and that was his destiny. Welcome to episode 4 of Clay Crime Files, and keep watching as we tell the story of the delusional murderer in clayman's terms. Young Choi, a 29-year-old man living in the city of Watertown, Wisconsin, in a boarding house above Yanger's Bar on 4th Street. Young Choi was a delusional person. He always makes hateful statements telling his neighbors that he was God and everyone except himself was evil. None of them ever took him seriously because they thought he was drunk. Just give it time and it'll fade out. But they were wrong. Young Choi extremely believed he was God and was convinced he could do whatever he wanted. He could pass judgments and decide life and death. This delusion had no limits. He believed he could have whatever he wanted, including his neighbor who he admired. He wasted no time approaching her, telling her that her husband was evil and she should leave her husband and be with him, but he was rejected. But he was already convinced that he could have whatever he wanted, so this was not enough to get rid of him. He knew what was preventing her from accepting him, and he knew exactly what he had to do. He didn't hold back. He told her he would get a sword and stab her husband. In clayman's terms, he would crack her husband. But she tried her best and convinced young Choi not to go along with his idea and believed she had successfully convinced him, which she totally got wrong. Young Choi proceeded to purchase a sword with a mission in mind, and that is to crack a 27-year-old man named Dustin Vanderheiden, the husband of the woman he admired. Without a change of heart, he proceeded. It was on a Thursday evening at 4:48 p.m. A 24-year-old man named David Gerard, living on the first floor of the same building, heard noises coming from above. These noises were from people struggling and yelling. He immediately rushed upstairs to see what was happening and was shocked on his arrival at the source of the noise. He saw a man, which was Young Choi, standing over another man, Dustin Vanderheiden. It would turn out that Young Choi had succeeded in his plan and had stabbed Dustin Vanderheiden. Young Choi, after fatally stabbing the victim, stood over him and continued hitting his victim with the sword. When David, the man who rushed upstairs, saw this, he rushed over to grab the sword, thinking it was a stick, and was injured with a deep cut to his palm. Dustin Vanderheiden helped prevent neighbors from getting hurt in this violence caused by Young Choi. During the commotion, a man named Eric Pan was hiding in the bathroom. He couldn't see what was happening, but could hear someone saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." This was the injured victim, Dustin Vanderheiden, begging for his life. Eric Pan was still in the bathroom when the killer, Young Choi, barged in to wash his sword after the attack. As he washed his sword, he said, "I stabbed that son of a bitch." The neighbors later saw Vanderheiden crawl away from the assault, leaving a trail of blood. Eric Pan quickly called 911 and told dispatchers that a man had just injured 2 men with a long sword, and there was blood and hair everywhere. When officers arrived, they found Young Choi blocking access at the top of a stairway leading to the apartments. Eventually, a negotiator was brought in, and Choi surrendered to police. Once police had access to the apartments, they found Dustin Vanderheiden with a stab wound to the abdomen. Dustin was immediately rolled out of the apartment complex on a gurney. He took his wife by hand and told her everything was going to be fine. Unfortunately, the doctors couldn't save Dustin's life as he died during surgery and could not be revived. He had multiple injuries, including on his head, back, shoulder, and neck. When police questioned Young Choi, he said that officers could call him God, and that he did not feel bad about the stabbing of Dustin Vanderheiden. Young Choi told investigators that the universe made him do it and that he did what he had to do. He also said that what he did was fate and destiny. Choi pleaded guilty but was found not guilty by mental defect and was sent to a mental health institution. Make sure to subscribe to Clay Crime Files so you'll never miss an episode of true crimes in clayman's term. See you next time.